Anyone with us?
Preparing the live stream.
Participants too, that's us.
Setting up meeting.
Is it live?
Okay.
It's now streaming live on YouTube. Exciting.
Done redirecting to YouTube.
Well, who's going to get the notifications? This is the people that are subscribing to your channel. Is that right?
Hey everybody, so we're live on YouTube. I don't know what you're saying.
Why can't you hear me?
Hold on, I gotta turn this on.
Are we having another malfunction?
Already? Right out the gate.
Why?
Because I'm on with Diane. Okay, let me see. Okay, so supposedly it says we are live on my YouTube channel. Look at us being bougie and fancy, because I have now figured out how to do this straight to YouTube instead of the Facebook page. So for any of our friends that I did some interviews on a Facebook fan page, and it just got very overwhelming because I had 3 different pages and there was too much going on, and I don't always multitask well. So I wanted to kind of transition everything over to my YouTube channel and really utilize that. So this is our first attempt at it. And
really good. I'm really impressed with how easy it was. You said it was easy. And I was worried, but I logged right in and no problems. Right to Zoom.
Even though that Diane didn't realize that she agreed to this in the middle of the night.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I didn't. Okay, Timothy.
So I was like, for Miss Keene and for Maria, who were witnessed last night's debacle when I was trying to figure out how to do this. Here's Diane. We can actually hear her now. And your hair looks good like that. Tousled and just pulled up.
Yes.
We're trying to get Stella on. Stella is usually our third.
Come here.
Our third co-host. And she wants to go outside right now. And Diane, there's a big standoff.
Stella, you're at least gonna say hi to everybody before I let her out. Hi, baby Stella.
Look at Stella. She's very agitated right now.
She has a belly full of pee. A belly full of pee.
She's like, I want to go outside, lady. Stella, look at the camera.
You have the nerve to call it what?
She won't look at the camera.
She won't. Stella, look at it.
She's starting to put them ears back. Oh, she looks mad.
I'm gonna let her out. I'll be right back. You keep talking, whatever you were talking about.
Okay. So anybody that would like to join me and Diane for some discussions on TDCJ and criminal justice policies, procedures, or just sharing good old-fashioned prison stories, as long as they're appropriate. I mean, borderline inappropriate is okay.
How come nobody's joining us?
Honey, it's
early?
5 in the morning, and
it's almost 3 p.m. here.
3 o'clock there. It's super early. You can tell by some of the bags under my eyes that I
latest batch of mail. If anyone wants to write anybody, Angela Thornton at Murray, Samantha Rodman, Mountain View, Suzanne Landers, Mountain View, Ruben Bella, he's a dude, he's at Ferguson Unit. Melissa Mendez, yay, Lay Murray, Devon, Lay Murray, and I have to read these backwards. Oh, Lawanda, Dee Dee, Mountain View. You know, we can only send 10 pictures at a time now, so.
Yeah, so we're
entertained and
still suffering with the mailroom policies during a pandemic of just not being able to even send a card to somebody.
And stickers.
And stickers and things to brighten their day. You know, it's interesting. I was watching some of the guys with their YouTube channels, and I'm like, man, boy, it seems like their experience is, I mean, in some ways is a lot similar to ours, but so very different. You know what I mean? Like you and I talk about, the stuff that we went through, and then I hear them and it's like, oh, wow. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not saying that they had this
That's
more,
what you mean, because I write to, two guys and their letters are always way different than the females, what they go through, and it's more like hardcore and just,
yeah, like, like I don't even sometimes, the guys want to chat with me or whatever, and I think that would be a good thing, but sometimes I feel like I don't know if we could really relate. I mean, I think it would be interesting in the ways that we could, but then in a lot of ways, it's like, oh gosh, like me and Diane talk about the girls are upset that we can't put stickers on their cars to brighten their day, and these guys are talking about gang wars,
right, people getting
and it's like,
stabbed.
wow, our experience, it is so similar in a lot of ways, but in some ways it's just drastically different. Not to say that, the stuff they went through that was painful and bad, that it's kind of like we had our own, which would be hard for them to understand, like the psychological and the emotional um,
Right.
terror, paranoia, and the very covert way things happened, amongst us that were violent or um, especially emotionally violent. You know what I mean?
Girls, we had our kindergarten bitchery going on, they go a step above and beyond all that.
Yeah, so it's like, they had troubles with gangs and especially drugs, and I'm not saying that stuff doesn't exist in the women's prisons, but it's very, I don't know, it's just different. And I don't know, I was watching their videos last night and I was like, oh my gosh, like, wow, God, we're
One of
so
my
different.
friends that I write to, her dad's locked up, and she was telling me, they got their visits taken away because he got busted with a bunch of K2, and so now how every year they can have a visit, but he got, punished and sent to close custody, and I think they added like 2 more years to his sentence. Even he got caught with a lot of K2. I think he was selling it.
Which is crazy, right? Because even though we didn't really see drugs a lot there, I mean, really in the almost 19, 20 years I did, I maybe saw drugs once or twice, alcohol a little bit more because the officers could bring it into a water bottle. Um, but it was mainly pills
Yeah,
and like bullshit contraband, like perfume and makeup and
yeah.
stuff like that. But in recent years, I mean, we have seen and heard, I mean, quite a few incidences of K2. You know what I mean? Like people really doing drugs on the female units. Like in the past, it just wasn't like that. So, um,
Remember that one year where you with me? We were at Pill Line and somebody's family was getting arrested at visitation. You could see the cops drive
yeah.
up, and we're like, "Oh my god!"
Mhm.
I remember that. Someone at H Storm.
Yeah, and the solution to that is not more policing and more. Um, well, I think that maybe that's a national discussion now. It's not more policing; it's treating the problem. And if we had, adequate substance abuse treatment and, you know, I mean, because there were times that I could have drank in there. Distinctly remember when Sincere was like, hey, I can hit it up with this officer. And he said he'd bring us a bottle of vodka and a water bottle. And, as an alcoholic, I'm like, damn, boy, I haven't had that in a long time. And, I'm stressed out in here. It's boring. And yeah, and she had a drinking problem. And at the end of the day, it was just like, no, first of all, I don't want you to have to do what you have to do to get it. And second of all, no, like I want something different. But that was extremely difficult. And that was without any type of, programming or support. So, I mean, I'm not saying I have the strongest will, Diane, because you know that I don't. But yeah, right. But I can only imagine those moments like that with other people that, or even if I had been in a different place, if had that been the first year that I was locked up, that probably would have happened. So
I mean, I
yeah, I
understand.
just thought it was interesting looking at the guys' experiences compared to ours, and it's not to invalidate one or the other. It's just I hope people can look at it and see how different.
Are you still writing them?
Hmm?
You are still writing them in? The ones that wrote you?
Yeah. Mhm.
Remember your YouTube channel before you had started, reading one, showcasing a letter and sharing
Yeah.
it with people, but then
Yeah,
I made
so
you busy with your new job and everything, and
right, like I know in the past I haven't posted anything in probably about 2 months. Because my writing kind of accelerated to another level, and so I'm still working on that. And then I got a new job and I moved to Austin, which is a big transition from rural East Texas. The landscape and the political flags, they all started to change as I drove closer to
and I'm used
Austin.
to, I can't believe I'm so used to seeing you in your pajamas, and now you're always dressed up when I see you, and but
Oh,
it's,
yeah. And
you have
that's
all
another
these
thing.
friends, no time for me anymore.
Yeah, so when the girls call me from Gatesville, it's like I put my video on pause and I'm like, well, and they heard me last night because I wasn't on mute, and my roommate was on the same call and she was like, mute. And I was talking to Lee. I was like, honey, I cannot take care of that right now. I'm in the middle of a meeting, and everybody was like, hi.
Oh,
It's like, oh, sorry.
oh.
um, yeah, so I haven't really been able to
Everybody
talk to
told me that
them.
this morning about her calling, and I meant to write her and Bossy. These are the ones I had wanted to get to today that I haven't got to answer yet. But
Mm.
hopefully, tomorrow I'm going to Amsterdam, so today's really a busy day. I never would have agreed to this with the pack and everything. And
You would never agreed to this in your right mind. I wish I could have captured that moment though, because you were like laying the camera, you were like this, and the camera was
uh-huh.
like this. And I said, okay, so in the morning at 7:30, you said, where are we going? Uh, I don't know, because I have to be on a train. And I was like, you're asleep. I'll talk to you in the morning. But I really thought you were at least coherent enough to know that you were doing this.
Oh, I've told you the things I've done before in my sleep.
Oh yeah, so y'all, Diane she filled out a resume one time. It was a
No, I applied for a job.
They applied for a job in her sleep. Sometimes she sends me emojis in her sleep that are like a chicken sandwich and then a clown and then a horn. And I'm like, is this a
Like the pictures
cryptogram?
and
Like, what
stuff
is
that
this?
I download. But I figured out why it's so easy, because when you're falling asleep, like if you're on a web page, and you hold your finger like this and you just keep holding it, like if I'm reading, and then it automatically a thing comes up like, do you want to download it? And I guess so it automatically downloads. So then the next day I'm like, what is this? This big protest in Belarus, and
What was the one you had subscribed to a podcast about the history of 1690 or something?
yes, and then also another podcast, disappearing in Alaska, about how some senators had crashed in an airplane and disappeared in Alaska. I'm like, why did they think I would be interested in it? Then it
No.
showed that I subscribed to it, and I was like,
See,
darn,
that's what I'm talking about. You're doing stuff in your sleep, and then the CIA or somebody's going to show up at your door because
oh,
you've started doing all this stuff. They're going to find you in downtown Berlin in the middle of the night, and your name's going to be Trixie.
oh Lord, no.
You're going to
But
be
speaking of
uh,
senators,
a dark agent or a prostitute, one or the other.
speaking of senators, can we talk about your?
No, no, because that's going to be an article, and that I have that comes out um,
Well, I'm glad you're
later.
still friends with the little people, even though you have
You
big
knock it off.
friends now on your speed dial.
I know, but see, I got the fancy shirt on, but I am in basketball shorts. So
What?
even though it looks professional, I am still in my pajama bottoms or basketball shorts. And this is what professional people see in the background as
Yes,
we're working
Wonder
from
Woman.
home. I did
Wonder
have to
Woman.
get a curtain
What's that?
because
The
the
bathroom?
light.
That looks like the back bedroom.
No, I know it's not the best curtain in the world, but it was on sale. And I like stuff that's on sale. And I
And
just
what's
needed to
there?
block the light from the window was like,
Oh,
can't really
how the
see
back
my,
bedroom has that bathroom, the curtain looks like that.
yeah, I know. I look at it sometimes, I'm like, people are gonna think that I'm living in a bathroom or a trailer or something.
Where's your shower shoes? Do you have them propped up?
They're propped up over here.
It's okay.
So, I'm gonna ask Marie
Okay, good.
to do an interview, and then we can start rolling from here. So if anybody that's watching this, so when I had the Facebook
Nobody's
Live
watching
page,
this.
huh?
Nobody's watching this. It's just me and you.
Well, it posts later, Diane, and people will watch it later when they get the notification because they turn their notifications on.
Mine are on.
Hmm.
Right here, I got it. Jennifer Toon,
Okay.
VF. Oh, you see, I got it.
Ah, my bad. I'm sorry. I know on Facebook you turned all your notifications off. So remember, I would do stuff and you were like, I didn't even know you were doing, unless you were just telling me a lie, Marcia.
To say that.
So anyway, for anybody that is watching the YouTube channel that never looked at the Facebook page, so me and Diane, we like to interview people that we were incarcerated with, um, and I'd like to expand that to people, like the men. I have never really interviewed a man yet.
Yeah, you're supposed
Um,
to interview Claudio.
well, that fell through, honey. He had to work and do other stuff, and then I got the
Oh,
big
his phone
job.
got stolen too.
What?
He lost his phone for a while.
Oh,
It got stolen or something.
so the first person we really want to talk to is Marie. She's doing fantastic work in Haiti because she was deported to Haiti, and we did a lot of time with her. And she's excelling, and she has her own YouTube channel, and they do a lot of great work. You know, ministry like stuff in Haiti. So we really wanted to highlight her, and this is a place for us to show the world that people who are incarcerated or have had to be in prison or jail or you know, we're not what the caricatures and the stereotypes on movies and TV and maybe some political uh, ideology paints us out to be. We're just regular people who made mistakes and trying to put something good in the world. So we want to highlight that and do our part to change that
Well,
stereotype.
I'll go there's which that reminds me of something that you had touched on yesterday. We were talking about Helen Moore, which, in case people don't know, she's in the hospital on a respirator, COVID, and they haven't been able to get her to breathe on her own. But remember how you were just talking about, well, even if we didn't particularly like her, she's still, one of us. And so of course, we're pulling for her. We don't want anything bad to happen to her. And same with the girl that wrote me. She's like, well, haven't always liked her, but she's family. It's
Yeah.
just like, this is how we look at it and it's really sad. And I really hope that, she pulls through because nobody deserves to die like that.
Yeah. And the girls at Carroll Young have really been hit hard with COVID-19 just because of the nature of their unit and who's housed there. A lot of older ladies and women with health concerns and disabilities. And once it got there, it punched them hard. And recently they finally posted two women's death. One lady we didn't know, but the other lady we did. And
Yeah.
Ann Smith was somebody that we knew well, and
Granny
that
Smith.
was hard. That was really hard to see
She
that.
loved to come to commissary. When I worked in commissary, she always had to buy white bread. She loved bread.
Yeah.
I remember about her.
And her little coffee and her cappuccino, and when she came to the library, which she didn't come as often as Miss Jerry, but she would come, and she liked the romance novels with no nastiness in it. And
Yeah.
if I suggested one that had those dirty scenes in it, um, I was in for it because Miss Ann didn't like that. I want a nice romance. So it's been really hard, and you look at you look at that page when TDCJ posts a death, and you see somebody that and there they are. And I'd said this to somebody in an interview. It was like, or just we were talking, it was one thing to hear it from the girls. They were like, hey, we're letting you know that Miss Annie, Granny Annie is dead. She died of COVID. And you know how prison rumors are. It's like, well, like when they said Megan was half dead and her intestines were hanging out and she walked in the door, she was like, no, man, I had stitches.
Right.
So you hold out to that, well, maybe they're mistaken, even though that they're not with this. And so when it was finally posted, almost 3-4 weeks later, it was like, damn, this is real. Like, I know it's real, but there's still a part of me that kind of
Holds out
detaches.
hope.
Yeah. And then there it is. And it's like, when Lee had called, and it was a day that I didn't mean to lose my temper with Lee. But she was like, we're not going to rec, and they're only giving us rec, just with our dorm for maybe an hour in the morning and sometimes every other day. And it just died. And, or we had just found out. And, Mountain View has not really struggled with COVID the way that other units have, thank God. And I just said, Lee, I don't give a fuck right now. I don't. She was like, what? I said, I don't. I said, first of all, y'all aren't going to rec. I'm sorry. They don't give a damn about your rec or you watching TV and only 5 people in the day room. They don't. And she was like, oh, okay. I said, look, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to go off on you right now. I said, but Miss Ann is dead. Do you understand that? And she said, what? Because she didn't know. You know what I mean? And she was like, what do you mean? I said, she is dead. I said, COVID is ripping Carol Young a new ass right now. I said, Miss Annie is dead. I said, Helen Moore is on a ventilator. And she said, you could hear it in her voice. She's like, what are you saying to me? What I'm saying to you is this is serious shit. You know what I mean? And it was like, I think the first time that even Lee, being so insulated and isolated at their unit because they've done a better job containing it and controlling it, it was kind of like a moment, like a reality check, like, oh my God, like, okay, I'm sorry, you're right. Like, that other stuff is important, but damn, you know what I mean?
Right. I remember that you telling me about that. You had to kind of lost your temper with her, but it's good because, she needs a reality check once in a while. We all do.
Yeah, it really highlights the difference at the units. You know what I mean? And I'm not taking up for TDCJ because they're not my favorite in the whole world. But the policies and procedures that they've tried to institute, and they've kind of had like no support from state officials. They've just been trying to like maintain this on their own, and just the nature of prisons makes it difficult, which that goes into a whole nother conversation about why we need to change our criminal justice system. But the units that have adhered to what they've put into place, like Mountain View, as best they could, as stringent as they could, have had better outcomes than say like Lane Murray or Carol Young, or especially like the men's units that have just been bad. And it really highlights the difference in unit administration and oversight. There's a discussion about why the prison system needs oversight, but we'll talk about that some other time.
That's above my pay grade. That little poet's
it's
like
part of my pay grade now, sort of.
So when I was I totally forgot what I was gonna say now. Threw me off like this. What is it, Wonder Woman?
I was saying because you were gonna say I'm handsome.
You're handsome. I was definitely not gonna say that.
Oh, fun.
What is that other one? I see Wonder Woman and the cat, but what's that thing over there? It looks like Linda Blair.
Because you're my BF, I'm not going to use profanity with you right now. I'm going to slowly pan. Here we
Okay.
go. First of all,
Not the one with no booty, that other thing. Yeah.
this one,
Yeah. It just
that's
looks
Taylor Swift.
like hair.
That's Taylor Swift. That's a headshot. She's like this, and her hair's in her face. Mm-hmm.
Not her best angle.
Linda Blair. You're sick.
Not her best angle.
I'm trying to see what else is in my room to look at. I can't really turn the camera around the other
Here's
direction.
a drawing, a blueprint of some machine.
Nice. It's
Big germ.
well, maybe I need more grown-up stuff.
I live in a museum.
If somebody came in here, they'd open my door and be like, "Oh, so you have a teenage daughter?"
Right?
No, there's a 40-year-old woman that lives in there in that little room.
Oh, joy. I love your little coat.
Okay, honey. Well, it's 8 o'clock, and I actually have like
Nobody.
professional stuff to do.
Big germ should be getting his notification.
So he can watch. He'll be proud
He's at work.
that you showed your mail with all your information on it.
I'm in trouble again, right?
I tried to stop you. I was like, did you see my eyes? I was like,
No.
that's fine. It's too late now because it's live.
You won't have time
So
to watch it. I'll keep them busy.
anybody can find your information though. So tell
All of them. They've sent it all around the world. I have people's girlfriends writing me.
all you have to do is
Let me show this off again. Oh my God, I love this. My friend had this done for me.
okay, back it up so we can see the whole thing. Back it up.
Somebody
That is
drew
really
it.
good.
In person, they did such a great job.
That's really good.
Oh,
Are you going to frame it?
yes, definitely. And I hope to get more. I've dropped little hints to all my friends, and hopefully I get more of, because I sent tons of pictures, and then have a little collection, like in my room or in the hall or something of just prison art. I think that would be really cool.
You have a collage. First of all, let's talk about your office.
Let's not talk about the collage that does not contain you.
Let's talk about your office with your cool desk and your chair and your kind of not pretty couch.
Hey, we
I
love
know
it.
Big Germ loves it.
Very comfortable. It pulls out. It's very snuggly to watch TV on.
Okay. So everybody might be wondering, who is Big Germ? Big Germ is her husband. He's the Big German. And that is not his name, but that is what we call him.
Big Germ.
So he is either called BG or Big Germ.
Yes.
And when we first started calling that, he was like, "I'm a germ?"
Yeah, he's so
no, it's short for German.
He's really
No, he's just used to it. I mean, I think I don't ever call him his actual name. Hey, Big Germ.
No, I do it too. Like if I'm typing my dad and I just type Big G, me and BG are blah, blah, blah. So.
Well, people should know that Diane is a master at nicknames. You're a master. Everybody in your life has a nickname, has a very unique nickname. So mine is Tunchi. That's why the video is BF Diane and Tunchi, because my last name is Toon.
Beautiful people write me and they talk about you and they say Tunchi.
Tunchi.
Like Tunchi.
And it's because I have that kind of street cred like Lil Wayne.
Oh my God. Is that why? Okay.
And no one's ever heard me lay down some lyrics. All right, stop. Collaborate and listen.
Oh,
it's just back in the day. That's back in the day when I was in high school. I could flow.
Vanilla Ice?
Oh my God. So Regina sent me a video of Vanilla Ice and Cowboy Troy. Ride the horse, ride the pony, ride the horse. It is the most horrifying, terrible song I've ever heard in my life. It just is. And I like Vanilla Ice, but it was just bad. It was bad.
Ooh, like recent Vanilla Ice? Or
yeah. It's like a Cowboy Troy is kind of like a country rapper. I don't know, and it's just bad. It's just bad. You should Google it and watch it, or I'll send it to you.
Have you watched WAP?
Watch what?
WAP?
WAP.
WAP with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, well, I'll send you the
Oh.
link. Something you should know about if you're called Tunchi.
Well, I mean, Tunchi's been trying to be professional and stay on task with the mounting things at work.
Well, let me tell you something. Well, this
Do
is
you
why
remember that?
I would have heard of it. Okay.
Look, do you remember that? Look, we finally have our. I was like, Diane, I don't know how to split the screen.
Yeah.
Why is your arm up? I said, I don't know.
Super embarrassed. Let me just talk between my hands. Okay.
So now we actually have a separated screen like we always dreamed.
Okay, so I
And
really want me to go
we can
off color.
build this dream
Stop trying to talk over me. I'm going to
Okay.
tell you why I thought you heard of WAP. Because, okay,
I know what it stands for.
you know what it
Okay,
stands for.
yeah.
Well,
I
you
just
know,
realized.
all the conservatives were making a really big deal about, oh, it's such a nasty song and blah, blah, blah. And Cardi B was sticking up for herself saying, hey, I'm a woman, you know, we like sex too. Why can't we talk about sex? And okay, well then somebody, when Melania Trump did her speech, then someone's like, oh, we need more women like Melania Trump and not Cardi B. They, you know, they tweeted that. So Cardi B came back on there and had a picture of Melania Trump back when she was naked, posted the naked Melania Trump and was like, oh, I'm getting WAP vibes from this picture. I was like, oh my God.
I didn't see that. Oh my God, I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah, so I said, oh, well, Tunchi should be all on top of this. Yeah, big and bare for Melania. I mean, she was just in the crossfire. She was just an innocent bystander. All she did
Right. She didn't say anything. She was like, I don't have anything to do with this. I'm
the other lady that was saying, oh,
trying to be a dignified.
so embarrassed for her.
I don't want to go too hard because boy,
Yeah,
have you seen the
on and on to the
comments?
break of
My
dawn.
God, no, not just because I'll go on and on, but man, some of the comments people leave on YouTube and Facebook are just, I just don't, and I felt really bad yesterday because some of my notifications for YouTube don't always come through, and I think it was my old phone. But some people had left a comment on one of my videos like, hey, I want to interview or talk or whatever. And it was like, well, she never responded. So I guess that's a no. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You know, those kind of comments I want to see and read, but sometimes I don't want to scroll down because damn, those are some nasty shit that people say. It really is, you know, and it's like, God, we were having a Zoom meeting last night, like kind of a coalition, and some people broke into our Zoom call, and it was like, oh my God, like, oh, like people have nothing else to do, or
How
you
did
know, they
do
hide
that?
behind
They did
the,
it on purpose?
yes.
Oh.
That's why you have to be really careful with, you know, when you set up meetings and do stuff live, because if it's not, you know, you have to have controls to who you let into the room and stuff, because
They
people
break it
just,
into our meeting.
because I have mine very well controlled, like I should. Otherwise, we'd have people popping in doing really weird, obscene things. It's very strange. People are strange, Diane. We're the weirdos, the ex-cons. I know I shouldn't use that language. It's criminally justice involved people. We're the weirdos, but like we're just talking about coffee and, you know, making sure the girls get letters and stuff. And then other people bust in and naked and do weird stuff. And you're like, whoa. But we're the crazy.
Another thing I want you to talk about and investigate for everyone is the video visitation. I know you told me they started it at Crane. You know, the girls are really anxious to get their visits back, you know?
Oh, yeah. So
yeah.
Chris had, she kept me up to date when she had a video visitation with somebody. Who was it?
Mooney.
Noonie, yeah. So she said it went fairly well and it was pretty convenient. There was some lag in the video and there was, some noise interference and she let them know and they're like, okay, well, we're working on it. But I mean, I think that it would, I mean, it's better than nothing. I mean, certainly whenever we're able to have physical visitation would be the best.
Right.
But during this, I mean, I mean, so they had it set up for some of the units to do the video visitation, but you had to go to another unit and, sit up in the stationed
So
area or whatever. And
Chris just called in from her phone.
yes, so you set up the visit in advance and it was during the week. So she just logged in through the app and then they
Okay.
have
Okay.
yeah, they have the person that you're visiting, you know, at the visitation. I think at Crane, I don't I don't know if I think they had it set up, the video visitation already set up, but they were talking about if units didn't, if they were going to expand, that they would just have tablets, that the officers could just give them a tablet to,
Oh,
which I
man.
think, why
I
haven't
wonder
we?
if I'll be able to do it. Maybe if I could call in, because my phone, I can call the US. So I don't know why I couldn't do that if I'm on someone's visitation list. I'm on a few people's visitation list.
Well, I mean, as long as you're on the visitation list, that's fine.
That would be so awesome. Oh, I hope it, but
So,
nobody, I don't really know anyone at Crane. What about you? Don't want to visit your friends that are at Crane?
oh yeah, but I mean, I can't be on their visitation
Oh,
list
that's
till
right.
May.
We had that discussion. I forgot. I'm sorry. And then there's a cost, right? $10 or something?
Yeah, it's $10 for an hour, which, I hate that families have to pay anything, but
It's just like gas money.
it's, yeah, I mean, of course.
Yeah.
So especially if you're living all the way across the state, I mean, girl, I drove from East Texas to Austin and it was 4.5 hours. You know what I mean? Like, I really appreciate my parents had to drive that distance just to come see me. And as they got older, they had to, stay the night at a hotel and then come see me. And, they couldn't make those trips back to back. When I was first time I was locked up when I was a teenager, they could drive down there 4 hours, and if they didn't want to stay, they'd just drive home. But older people can't do that, and I hate when people say, well, if it's such a burden, then sometimes the officers would say if we would complain in visitation, well, then just don't. It's not my fault. Then don't go visit. They're there for a reason, and but I think we've talked before about how important visitation and mail is. I mean,
Sure.
without that, I don't know how I would have survived.
Me too.
And
Yeah, especially now. Especially
and
for Big Sam.
I know I remember walking the rec yard when you first met Big Germ and talking about his mail and
I knew he was special.
yeah, pen pals are special.
Oh, no.
They blossom into so much more sometimes, especially if they've been pen pals for many, many years,
Like a decade.
like a decade. I'm just saying, there's obviously a reason for that.
Yes, it's true.
So anyway, honey, I've got to start doing.
There you go, on and on till the break of dawn. What you're best at.
Till the break of dawn.
Good thing I let Stella out.
Okay, so I'm gonna contact Maria and see if I can get her on here through this.
Let me know.
And
I gotta get on with my life and start packing.
oh yeah, you've got to go to Amsterdam. So
I hope you're available for me in case I have a emotional breakdown.
let me see. I'm gonna check my. Just kidding.
Maybe peacemaker. I'm bringing Big Germ with me here the first 3 days, so it'll be good.
But easy, smooth transition after that. He'll bring the hammer. He brings the hammer that I can't.
Yes, he does. He really does.
Okay, honey, I love you, and I'll get Maria on here and watch this and see how well we embarrassed ourselves.
Mary. Hi, Ruth. Who else usually watches us? Sheila Wade?
Yeah, but see, they'll get their notifications and then all the subscribers I have.
Okay, I love you. Bye.
Okay, I love you. Bye.
Okay, I love you too. Hang up.